Fertility, which is the card that you pulled earlier. New beginnings, new projects, which is very fitting for where we're beginning. When I think about my life and where I came from, I would say it was instilled in me by my mother. And my mother, when I guess at the younger portion of my life, I would think of Goddess as strength and control. My mother was paraplegic. She had been shot 4 times. And I was raised with the mentality of there is absolutely no excuses. So there wasn't anything that my mother couldn't do. She taught herself to drive. And once my father passed away, she lived by herself all alone for 7 years until the day that she passed away. And so growing up, there was just absolutely no excuses. I mean, whatever was expected of us, if there were obstacles, then you better figure it out. It was about strength. So when I was younger, it was about that. But as I got older, I think that my perception of Goddess was more on going within, and wasn't so much survival anymore. It was more of operating from a heart standpoint. And when I think about Goddess right now, for me, it is really recognizing like the divine truth in myself, but also the divine truth of everyone that I interact with. And it's really about kindness and operating from your heart in the sense that there's no judgment and we're all on our journeys. And as goddesses, then, really our job is to support each other in our paths of evolution and in our journey. And so Goddess means so many things. It's strength, it's compassion, it's forgiveness, it's gratitude. It is just, ultimately, it's just living in divine truth for yourself and for everyone around you. And we're all worthy and getting past that unworthiness, which so many women have that obstacle in front of them. It's been created, it's been instilled in them. It's breaking the mold of who we are. And it's okay to be strong as a woman. It's okay to be loving and kind and nurturing. Essentially, a goddess can do it all. I mean, we're powerful, but we're also nurturing, and it's okay to incorporate all of it. So my life has brought me to this place. I started in a professional realm, and then I had the luxury to stay home with my children and have children. And I was home for 15 years, and I got to do my art and explore and create a yoga line for yoga bags, and then I started a meditation group, and that happened because my best friend had decided it was time to leave this earthly realm. And when she did, she left me. She contacted someone that I did not know who was a medium, and she gave her some messages for me. So she reached out to me and said, Stacy has messages for you, and she would like you to have a night of meditation for your friends and family to release grief. So it was a meditation for grief. So I didn't know who this person was, but she shared some information with me that no one would know except for me and Stacy. So I didn't really delve into the medium and in the spiritual world so much before then. And I thought, well, what can it hurt? So I invited my friends who were grieving and our family who were grieving, and we had a meditation, and it was very powerful. And Kathy led the meditation, and although she was a medium, she was a closet medium. So she had never led a meditation before. And so we did it. It was very cathartic. It was very releasing. And she said, oh, well, Stacy would like you to do it again. So I thought, wow, who is this lady? But, it felt great. And I said, okay, we'll do it again. So we did it the next month. And after that evening, she said she would like you to do it every single month. And I thought, oh, wow, really? But all I did was sit down and email. And I had this space. I used my art studio at the time. And I just sent out an email, and whoever came, came. And probably about 15, 20 women came. And from that moment on, we decided, we would meet every single month, and we would do a meditation. And then eventually it evolved, and we decided, it's not about grief anymore. It's really about let's explore various topics of spirituality and walking our paths as women and support each other. And what happened is all these talented women and all these gifted women started gathering, and they had something to share. So then we would ask them, what would you like to talk about? Maybe we should talk about the elements. Maybe we should talk about energy and talk about chakras, because not all of us know about chakras. So then we'd have her come in, or have someone come in and talk about chakras. And then we thought, wow, maybe we should talk about dream interpretation. Let's bring somebody in there. Well, it just so happens that one of the goddesses knew about dreams. And the way the goddess gathering, the name came up, it was just the second time we had an event, I created an email and I thought, well, let me name it something. And so I said, it's a goddess gathering. And little did I know the impact of just thoughtless, that I think of it now, it's thoughtless awareness. I didn't put any energy into it, but that was supposed to be named that. And now it's expanded, and we've gone from, 15 women to, it's been 4 years now. We have a Facebook presence, and I think we have over 900 followers now. And we've since called it the Goddess Gathering Global. So global stands for giving light, offering blessings, and affirming love. And now we just, we have a global presence, and we just invite people to share information and maybe their struggles, maybe they need some energy, maybe they need us to pray for them. But it's all about just, for us, it's been an organic flow. It's just evolved on its own. The goddess of love always is very close, but no, because I respect every facet of every goddess and what they represent. And I think that is truly what identifies most women, is because they can identify with so many of the goddesses on so many levels, because that's really who we are as a goddess. We're built, and we're encompassed by all these different characteristics that give us our strength. And sometimes our strength is, within our hearts, but sometimes it's taking control, and it's being that warrior. So I don't really identify with one, honestly. I identify with all of them, because at certain parts of our life, different ones step through. And that's what helps get us through that moment. And sometimes they're stronger, and sometimes they're the nurturer. So, it's the challenge of the label, right? It's the labels, because they don't want to be labeled as something. I think sometimes when people hear that I co-partner a goddess group, they're very curious, and I think maybe sometimes they think that, oh wow, look at you calling yourself a goddess, so maybe it is offensive because I have the audacity to associate myself with a goddess. But really, for me, it's about empowering. It's about everybody recognizing the goddess within themselves. And yeah, I've had some people that are like, really, well, so you're a goddess, I say that, I identify myself on my Facebook page as, a goddess who just tries to use her powers for good. And I think that, I think we all have the goddess within us, but some people don't feel comfortable claiming it, because maybe they don't understand exactly what it is. From their perception, they've been reared to think it's something that I don't think it is. For me, it's all positive. I think we all have it within us to be powerful and to be loving and caring and supportive. And that's my perception of it. So I think, it just depends on the person. But I've never had anybody really have a very negative reaction. But I do think sometimes they're kind of like, oh, wow, who are you to identify yourself? But from my perspective, if we are not our own advocates, then who's going to stand for us? And who better to promote ourselves as a goddess than us, right? Because because that's who we are. And I say claim it. I say claim it and celebrate it. And we should celebrate it for every single person. And that's one of my goals. And I think one of my co-partner Kathy's goals is that it's to really instill that empowerment in you. Because for so long, women, they've had this place or this perception that they may not be worthy. They don't fit into the corporate world. They're not the best mother. They're not doing this right or that right. So much about judgment that we really have to let go. And one of the things that I claim is that imperfection is perfection. I don't claim that what I'm doing is the right thing to do or the right way. It's only right for me. And everything that I do, I just kind of follow my gut. And if it feels good, then to me, then it's the right thing to do. And so far, the Goddess Gathering has felt really good. And it continues to feel good. And so, I will continue to do it as long as it feels good. And what I see is that it doesn't only feel good for me, it makes a lot of other women feel really good too, because they're connected and they're supported, and it's like-minded women who are not afraid to stand up and be who they want to be and who they are inside. And it's about releasing any kind of fear, fear about parenting and befriending the other women and supporting them and lifting them. We have to lift each other in order for us to stay up here. And I'm all about vibration, right? I'm all about, we're all vibration. We all vibrate at a certain frequency. And I can tell you this, that when we have gatherings, one of the things I look forward to the most is when I get 20 or 30 or sometimes even 40 women in a room, and we've done a meditation or we've had some kind of vibrational healing or used chimes, and we get together and our energy starts flowing. There is nothing that compares to the level of vibration and positive energy that you feel and support that you feel when you are surrounded by women who are connected to each other. And honestly, their energy becomes just one unified force, and it's very powerful. And for me, it's almost like I'm addicted to it, because I look forward to the next week, the next month, and my co-partner Kathy's like, we have to do that more than once a month. But with corporate jobs on both of our sides, it's hard to do it all the time. But I look forward to it because there's just no denying the vibration and the level and the height that you can raise your vibration, and it lasts for a really long time. And as we live our lives and we deal with the daily conflicts and the daily drama and the obstacles that we face and that we create and that our family creates, if you can maintain that vibration and keep it high, it just attracts more of that same vibration. So, the power of the goddess energy can maintain vibration for indefinite periods of time. I always say if we could just bottle it, we would be millionaires if we could sell that. But it's really getting us in a room together and just sharing that energy is just so powerful. It's just it's limitless, the power that it contains. So I didn't work for 15 years, and in that 15 years is really during the time is when I kind of got introduced to meditation and vibration and energy, and started studying. Once I left the corporate world, I immediately started taking a course in aromatherapy, and I became a certified aromatherapist. And then I went into feng shui and learned about the energy of of your setting and your surroundings, and then I just started exploring. So I would say that I was out of the corporate realm for a really long time, and actually my husband. And I was rearing my children. I had 3 kids, so it was really great, to live this life and to have the luxury of being able to do that, and stay in gratitude because of that. But at one point in time, my husband was watching 60 Minutes, and he said, "Oh, Kimie, Google has a director of mindfulness. They're implementing a corporate mindful program. And I said, wow. He said, you should do that. And I said, yeah, I should do that. But that means I have to go back to work. And he said, yeah, that's true. But I had been out of the workforce for 15 years, but I had been in human resources prior to. And so I made the decision to go back to work, and I made a phone call, and I contacted some people that I had known from my previous work. And 2 days later, I was having drinks with the CEO, John Hewitt, and 4 days later, I was back at work, and I told him that I wanted to be the director of mindfulness. And he said, well, that's not on my org chart. And I said, well, you're the CEO, so you can make anything happen. And he said, well, let's see what you do. And I told him at the time that I was going to shift the energy of his company. A week later, I was back, and I was just going in for part-time. And probably 3 weeks later, then I took a management job. And then, a year later, I was, overseeing a department. And here I am. I've been back to work for 3 years, almost 3 years now, and just recently promoted to VP of Human Resources. And I have a full-blown meditation program. It's Thoughtful Thursdays right now. And so what I do is I invite everyone to come in once a week. I host a meditation. I actually just choose a meditation from off of YouTube, and we listen to different ones every single week. I want people to be able to create their own practice and see what resonates with them. And then I send that mindful meditation throughout the company. And during our peak, we have 2,600 employees. So it touches a lot of people. And, at the beginning, I don't push it. I don't push mindfulness. I don't push meditation. I don't say, hey, I'm a goddess, although they do see my license plate, so there's no denying it. But I think by maintaining a level of being and just living from your heart and just keeping your vibration high, that it just affects everyone that you come in contact with. So everyone who crosses my path, I don't really even have to talk about it. I don't promote it in that sense, but they understand it because of just the way you live your life and the way you maintain your state and the energy that you project. And it's just being in awareness of the energy. But I will tell you, when I went back to the corporate world at the beginning, I was challenged because I just automatically get caught up into the corporate vortex of, dog eat dog and power and competition. And you just have to continue to bring yourself back, rein it in, and understand, really, why did I come back to the corporate world? Well, I came back because I needed to shift the energy of corporations and the people who are at work and have them understand that you have to operate from your heart. You have to be kind. A kind leader produces kind teams, and you're conscious that way. And it's a trickle effect, and the tone starts at the top, of any organization. So my goal is to educate the leaders of the corporation so that they can establish a tone of consciousness. And then we have conscious teams. And what that means to me is that conscious leaders are aware of their actions and the energy that they project and, how they get to the goal. But the goal ultimately has to be the bottom line in corporations. But, there are so many benefits. And the bottom line is just one of them. There is, the connectiveness as a team. There is leading with kindness. It improves your immune system. Your body responds to it so that it reduces the money that you spend on healthcare, and the premiums go down. So it really does affect the bottom line. Now, that's not the ultimate goal in life itself. It's really about connectedness and understanding that you need to operate from your heart and recognize the divine truth in every single person that you come in contact with. And, that person just so happens to be your coworker, but, they are really your, they're really just one. It's about oneness. They're really your brother. They're really your sister. It's just really they're one drop in your ocean, right? when we recognize the divine energy in anybody, right? So because I'm a woman, then I claim the goddess. But as a human, you recognize the divine truth of every single person. And the masculine energy is so important, right? I mean, it's not just about masculine and feminine energy. The males have the masculine, the females. The reality is we both contain both masculine and feminine energy, whether you're a male or a female. And for me, it's really about recognizing the balance and teaching people to understand the balance of that, and getting rid of the social expectation and the social norms of, the male should have this position and the female should have this position. It's recognizing and really amplifying and just having each person understand that it's about oneness. And no matter what you do, no matter what thoughts you have, no matter what actions you take, when you take those actions and you have those thoughts, you're really just affecting yourself. So you affect the one beside you, you affect the teams, but you're really, ultimately, it just comes back to you. And that's the whole thing, you treat somebody how you want to be treated. It's that energy. You project that energy and it comes right back around. Because whatever you're projecting, you're actually inviting. And whatever you deflect is really just a reflection of yourself and your energy. So it's being in awareness, and whether you're a male or female, it's just recognizing and just celebrating and coming to a balance that we are all one, that we're all equal, that we're all worthy, and we're all divine. So you had asked me earlier in regards to when did the goddess come, when did you kind of recognize? And one of the things that I had talked about was I was born with a large hemangioma birthmark on my face. It covered up 85% of my cheek. And as a child, I would steer away. I would hide behind my mother's legs. But my mother, number one, taught me at an early age, one of the things that she would say to me over and over was that, you're special. You're special. That's why you have that. And so I remember just dreading meeting new people because they would always say, oh, what's on her face? And children, they just can't help themselves. And as a small child, I knew early on that when I walked into a room, that everyone's eyes were on me. And, and some people, they want to be the center of attention, right? They strive for it. They do everything they can possibly do to be the center. But for me, it was my life. And being the center of attention was not always positive. And in most cases, it was not positive. Because I knew that their curiosity and their questions, it wasn't out of kindness. It was, ooh, what is that on her face? But at some point in time, I realized that, okay, I believed my mother, number one. I believed that I must be special because I had it. And then I realized that, hey, all eyes are on you. When you walk into a room, all eyes are on you. So there's nothing you can do about it. So I began to think of it as, you know what? They're on me, so I better hold my head up and I better own it because it's mine. And you know what? And as I've gotten older, I realized that, that's almost a gift for me because eyes are on me. I've had eyes on me all my entire life. So then you utilize that platform that you're given and the gifts that you are given. Now, I've since had surgery, and because once you make peace with something, then it kind of challenges you even more. So I had my birthmark, it was flat. And then once I started having kids, it started growing. So it started getting bigger and projecting outward. And to the point that it actually hung and pulled on my eye. And I thought, oh gosh, I've embraced it and I've owned it. And now it's becoming an entity of its own. And so then I had surgery and they cut portions of it out. But my plastic surgeon is always saying, let's cut more. I can take it completely away. But for me, it's always been a part of me. And I said, as long as you have it flat, that's really all I care about. I just don't want it pulling. But, it becomes yours and you just take it and you just celebrate what's yours. And again, imperfection is perfection. And you just believe that to be true, and it becomes you. So I do something called dream visions, and it's a conceptual piece. It's a conceptual art form, and it actually evolved from my feng shui class. And so in my feng shui class, one of our projects was to shift energy and to shift something in your life. And one of the things in my life at the time was I didn't feel like I had enough passion in my life. And so I thought, I'm going to activate passion. So she basically asked us to do a vision board. But what happened was it turned out to be this amazing, beautiful piece of art. And so I started creating for my friends. And one of the things that I did create for was my plastic surgeon. He had done a couple surgeries, and I was so happy with the way that my face looked that I gave him a dream vision. I gave it to him, and he hung it in his office. And then people started calling me. And I thought, oh gosh, and then people that didn't live here, so I had to do it over the phone. So what I did was I said, so then you have to give me your intent. Is your intent to have a glimpse of your journey, or navigate your journey, or maybe even heal thyself? And so then I created a questionnaire for them, because I'd been in the human resources world for so long, and I was a psych major. And so I created a questionnaire for them, and then I would gather symbolic images that would represent whatever their intention was, and then I would meld it together. But one of the things I started doing was, while I was in the process, I would set an intention in my dreams, and I would ask to have information come to me, or images come to me that needed to be incorporated into their dream vision. And then I'd meld them together, and then I would give them a symbolic key as to what every single image meant and how it related to their intention. And it just, it started evolving, and I was so excited to be a part of the International Dream Study art exhibit. And I think that was a couple years ago. They had it here in Virginia Beach. So my art was chosen as one of the pieces. And it's just been great. I've worked with Susan G. Komen. I've created some art for them, and that they auctioned off. And so my art is a big part of it, in energy and the energy work that I do. And what happens is that the different symbols and the symbolism within there, it starts with an original intention, but it actually, based on the individual that's looking at it, it actually really conforms for what it is that they need, and it helps shift their energy. So yeah, I totally love, doing artistic work and doing energy work through dream visions. I live my life by just trusting, and just recognizing the guidance that comes throughout. I didn't know I was going to stay home for 15 years. I didn't know I was going to create a goddess gathering group. I didn't know I was going to go back into the corporate world. I didn't know I was going to be a dream vision artist. So I'm really all about trusting and letting it come through. I'm very passionate about mindfulness. I'm very passionate about empowering women and showing them that we are in control of our realities. We define our destinies by, first of all, knowing who we are.